Para qualquer pessoa atravessar um oceano, agora para essa menina de só 16 anos, é mais de 20 anos. Hoje ela conseguiu transformar esse barco num balão. Ela transformou esse barco num balão.
Your Atlantic voyage may have come to an end, but the climate action we will all take together on this continent has only just begun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. So next up we have she.
Hi everyone, I want to thank you all for being here today and welcome Greta to the US. My name is Shia Bastida. I am a 17-year-old climate justice activist. In 1 week, 1 million New Yorkers are going to start school. But how can we be in school when there's fires all over the world and our glaciers are melting? We are at a point where a 16-year-old has to cross the Atlantic to make her point. Me, as myself, I was born in Mexico, I was born and raised there, and in 2015, I was displaced because of flooding. And now, in New York City, I saw the effects that Sandy had on the community, and I realized that the climate crisis follows you everywhere. From Sweden to Mexico to New York and the US, we have to unite behind the science and realize that the climate crisis is affecting everyone, everywhere. When I first heard Greta speak, I was inspired by her moral compass, which aligns with my indigenous cosmology and beliefs. We believe that we are on Earth to take care of life, not to take over. This Friday, Greta is going to strike at the United Nations. This is going to be her first strike in the US. But this is just a build-up for the September 20th global climate strike, where people from all over the world are going to unite to demand climate action. This is going to be an intergenerational strike because the climate crisis requires collaboration and intergenerational solutions. So I thank you all for being here. Welcome Greta again. Thank you so much.
Well, all of this is very overwhelming, and the ground is still shaking for me. But I want to thank everyone so much, everyone who is here, and everyone who is involved in this climate fight, because this is a fight across borders, across continents, and it's, as you said, it is insane that a 16-year-old have to cross the Atlantic Ocean to make a stand and this, of course, is not something that I want everyone to do. The trip was very surprisingly good. I did not feel seasick once, so there was. And I'm very grateful for Team Malizia and everyone else who has been making this trip possible, and of course for everyone else, every activist who fight daily to save the world, basically, but to keep the fossil fuels in the ground and to create a safe passage to... I'm sorry, my brain is not working correctly. The climate and ecological crisis is a global crisis and the biggest crisis humanity has ever faced, and if we don't manage to work together, to cooperate and to work together despite our differences, then we will fail. So we need to stand together and support each other and to take action, because otherwise it might be too late. So let's not wait any longer, let's do it now. Yes.
Okay, so we've got time for some questions. So if you could state who your question's for, and we will start. Okay, gentleman at the back there.
Question for Greta. What are your plans when you're here in New York? What are you going to be doing?
Right now I'm going to first finish this press conference and then go back to the boat and get my stuff, and then I'm going to rest. And then on this Friday I'm going to join the school striking young people outside the UN, which they have been doing for every Friday now for more than half a year.
You've heard about what's happening in the rainforest in Brazil. How do you feel about it?
Yes, even on a sailboat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I heard about the forest in the Amazon rainforest, the fires in the Amazon rainforest. So that's, yeah, and it is, of course, it's devastating, and it's so horrible. It's hard to imagine. So, I mean, we need to. I mean, this is a clear sign that we need to stop destroying nature, and our war against nature must end. And I mean, the Amazon is such a key to addressing the climate crisis and the ecological crisis. So that is incredibly important. We cannot understand how important it is. So, yeah.
You are in Donald Trump's background. What is your message for Donald Trump and the American people?
It's strange. Everyone always asks me about Donald Trump. But, I mean, my message for him is just listen to the science, and he obviously doesn't do that. So, I mean, as I always say to this question, no one has been able to convince him about the climate crisis, the urgency, then why should I be able to do that? So I'm just going to now focus on spreading awareness, and that people in general will start caring and realize how big of a crisis this is.
So, President Trump says oil and gas are the source of America's wealth. Windmills cause cancer, he says. What is your answer to him? And to the activists who fossil fuel emitter. What do you say to that?
I mean, of course, oil and gas has its ups and downs, and we need to sort of realize the consequences from a bigger perspective of what it actually does when we use it the way we use it today. And I'm pretty sure windmills doesn't cause cancers. And was the second question my message to all the activists, to just keep going. And I know it may seem impossible and hopeless sometimes, but it always does. So you just have to continue, because if you try hard enough and long enough, you will make a difference. And if enough people stand together, fight for the right thing, then anything can happen. So. I mean, of course, that it's focused on me as.
How does it feel that the focus is so much on Greta's person here?
I mean, of course, it's a huge focus on me as an individual, and maybe in a way that takes away from the focus from the actual problem. And so, I mean, of course, I wished this was more not focused on me, but more as a whole. And yeah, so. But I mean, there's not much I can do about that. If what I'm doing can make a difference, and if it can create attention for the climate crisis, then I'm going to use that opportunity to try to change things.
Lady down here in the blue shirt. Sorry, yeah.
Congratulations. You're planning to celebrate with your children and to relax for a little while as well.
Indeed. I'm going to relax for some days now, and I won't really celebrate this trip or anything. I will just be as normal, because that is what I enjoy the most, to not do anything and to go for walks and eat fresh food, not freeze-dried, and to be dry and to clean myself.
Are you still thinking to stay on? They're expecting you in December, and what do you expect about COP25?
I'm definitely coming to Chile, as it looks now, and I'm going to try to get there, of course, without flying. So there will be a lot of trains, buses, and probably even sailing as well. I will figure that out as time goes by. And from COP25, I expect, I mean, that must be some kind of breaking point. This United Nations Climate Action Summit in September now, and the COP25, these two have to be a tipping point. I hope it will be, because it must. And I and many people with me are going to try to do everything we can to make sure that the world leaders have all eyes on them during these conferences, so that they cannot continue to ignore this. I was how old I were when I first started to become a climate activist, or I first heard about, found out about this issue when I was maybe 7, 8 or 9 years old, and then I realized that, oh, this is actually very bad, and I started to read about it more and more, and when I became maybe 11, I became depressed, and the climate crisis was a huge cause of that, and because I just felt that everything is hopeless and there's nothing we can do and no one is doing anything, but then I sort of got out of that depression by promising myself that I'm going to do everything I can to change things, and that is what I tried to do, and I started to go to marches and demonstrations and to join organizations and things like that, but I still thought things were too slow, that nothing was really changing, so I was desperate in a way, tried to do something, just anything, and then this idea of school striking came up, and then I thought, yeah, I might just as well try that and see if it works, and if it doesn't, then I will try something else, and then I did it, and then it became huge very quickly.
To go to any of these countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Nigeria that depend on oil for their development, and what would you say to their leaders when they come here that would change their mind?
I mean, what I say to all leaders is that we have to take responsibility and see the bigger picture, and of course different countries have different different ways, or they are depending on different things, and that of course we need to take into account that, and of course the aspect of equity, which is stated throughout the Paris Agreement, we also need to take into account that different countries are on different developing levels, and we need to make sure that everyone gets a just transition.
Greta, can you give a comment to all the children that are meeting up today?
Bless you. Thank you, Greta. We'll get to it all. We're with you all the way, Greta. Keep up the good work. Greta! Congratulations!
Greta! What do you have to say?
Yay, Greta! Congratulations, Greta! Welcome!
All right, who wants my screen? You gotta move out of my way.